Hey guys, Anthony here from Pro Wrestling Proverbs. Before we get started, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who followed us on social media this past weekend or engaged with any of our posts. This past Mania weekend was probably by far the most engagement we've ever gotten since we started doing this. So thank you from the bottom of both mine and Logan's hearts. We do greatly appreciate it. Crossing 2,000 followers on Facebook this past weekend was awesome. Just know we have a lot of great stuff planned for you guys this summer and obviously into next year. And we hope you stick around. If it's your first time listening to our show, you found us on Facebook this past weekend or on Twitter or TikTok or wherever you found us from this past weekend, and it's your first time listening, I hope you do enjoy. Typically, these episodes aren't nearly as long. We don't usually go for 2 hours, or in this case, 2 hour-ish long podcast split up into two. We typically don't go that long, but like I said on the podcast you're about to listen to, there was a lot to talk about this weekend. The sale of WWE and WrestleMania 39 reactions. Me and Logan cover all that coming up right now.
What is up, everyone? This is Noelle Foley, and you are listening to Pro Wrestling Proverbs. Oh yeah, have a nice day.
It's been a long week, but it's finally maybe over. WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania weekend is come and gone. The Raw after Mania is over. WWE has been sold. A lot of news this week. And we're going to try to cover it all. I'm assuming by the time we post this, even more news will break. But we got to get out of the way. We'll cover WrestleMania here. Probably won't go too in-depth into Mania and individual match reactions because now it's Thursday as you're listening to this, and WrestleMania is old news already.
Old news.
Old news. You know what's not old news?
What?
Vince McMahon's hair. I've never seen.
I said it in our group chat. I think what happened was he was sitting with one of his granddaughters, Stephanie and Triple H's kids, and they were watching the TV show Wednesday, the Netflix show Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
And he's just sitting there, and he's like, I don't understand. And they're like, Grandpa, it's what the kids like. It's hip. He goes, they like this. And then he looked at the screen, and there was Gomez, and I could look better than that fat ass. So then he grew the mustache, he dyed his hair, and he went, what do you think? They're like, Grandpa, no, you're not supposed to be Gomez. We like Wednesday. And he goes, but Vince being so stubborn, he's like, well, I didn't do this for you. This is the new Grandpa. And he's kept it.
I gotta go show your new grandma. And, like, his mustache, it looks like he just took like his a dipstick from his engine in his car and like just spread it across his face. That's what his mustache looks like. His natural look of like gray hair can't look any worse than that. Like people were telling him he looks good, and that's a travesty.
Yeah, I don't know. My other theory is he grew it out to make it seem like he's a different Vince. Like
he's in disguise. Like, I'm not the Vince who paid off those women. And like when Kobe switched from 8 to 24. Like number 8 was the rapist.
It's not exactly the thought. My thought is it's so that way people would be like, clearly he hasn't been retired. He's been involved somehow. We speculated on this before, but he slowly creeped his way back in. But I think it's to be like, look, I wasn't the same Vince. I have facial hair. Look, I grew it. I got wild. And
I'm wilding out. Someone called Nick Cannon.
I don't know why he did it.
I don't know.
It's hilarious though.
Yeah,
and
the pictures of him at the Hall of Fame are gonna give me nightmares. And then at first I thought it was another fake image. Then I've seen his interview at Well, I seen that. I watched the his CNBC like interview with the president of Endeavor or whatever, whoever bought WWE, and I'm like, oh no, it's real, and it's worse when he's moving.
Hell, you love it.
I would have canceled the sale right there if I was Endeavor. I'm like, you know what, we'll pass actually. But enough about Vince looking ugly. We got WrestleMania 39 to talk about, and I'll put it out there to start. Night one, I think maybe. We'll have to see. Recency bias is a thing. Night one might be top 10 all time.
And night one was very good. Night two, I know there was a couple things that fans didn't agree with. I still thought it was very good.
The difference is between night one and night two for me. Night one, every match on night one was a banger. I loved every match on night one. Night two, there was a match I did not like on night two, and that was the Fatal 4-Way women's match. I liked the ending. People are shitting on because of the ending. I actually liked the ending. With Ronda and Shayna Baszler just like doing nothing and then coming in and winning. It actually fits the story if you were paying attention to it. But like the match itself, I just was not into it. But every other match on night two was also great. And I don't understand these people just because of the ending of the main event on night two. So now like that match was shit now.
Yeah, I don't get people. I think as more individuals in the wrestling community come out, like the big one that I saw today, that I saw more or less people murmuring. I don't know if you saw, but Paul Heyman gave his opinion on it. We'll get to it later, but he painted it in a positive light, and he described it, and he's like, this is why it happened, this is why it makes sense. And I noticed that when Paul Heyman came out and did it, that people were starting to be like, oh, because before it was, your usual suspects of people that were like Triple H at the press conference. Well, Cody's story isn't done. We got to continue the story. It's a never-ending story here in the WWE. And people are like, boo, that's a Triple H answer. Yeah. But I think now that Paul Heyman came out and said it, as people are like, oh, and they're starting to think about it. I hope wrestling wasn't always like this. I don't remember it being like this. But I remember being a kid and having someone in the main event, like when Kane had to lose his mask when he lost to Triple H. I was bummed. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I don't remember, like, sleeping through the night, waking up the next day and being like, God damn it!
I'm never watching this shit again!
Yeah!
I think I know me and you are going to disagree on the main event the outcome, which is fine, This is one of the very things me and Logan would disagree on, and we're not gonna hate each other at the end of it, like some of you people online will.
And I think the big difference is you think that it was done wrong, but you're not furious about it. Like I've seen people on Facebook where I'm through watching it. I'm not gonna watch it, and you know what I say to that person? And I expect you to throw away all your WWE shirts. If you have any championship belts, I expect you to throw them away. You can't be a fan now. You just gotta stop.
It's like they're like the people when like Bud Light recently they partnered with somebody controversial on TikTok, and like all these people are like, oh, all the Bud Light I already bought, I'm gonna pour it out, or be like Kid Rock and shoot it or something. I don't understand those people. Like, if you actually love wrestling and like that main event pissed you off so much, where like you don't want to watch it anymore, I'm gonna have to question how much you actually enjoy wrestling in the first place. Like, yes, it's scripted, and they can, they should strive for what quote unquote the fans want, but you also have the ability to plan ahead, and like kind of like movies, like were people pissed off at the end of Empire Strikes Back when Luke lost? I'm saying, like, there's still obviously more to the story. And we'll get into it more, I guess, later. I still personally think that Cody should have won. I think it was the right time for him if you thought he was the man to win. But like I said, we'll get into him later. Let's break down this card before we blow our entire talking points in the main event already. Night one, we'd open up with John Cena and Austin Theory. We did a poll for this match on Facebook, and surprisingly, 64% of the votes thought that John Cena was going to win and beat Austin Theory for the United States Championship. Did not happen. I did not see, as much as I did want John Cena to win, I thought it'd be like an actual expected swerve, have him win it and then drop it to somebody like the next night. A potential, I think I said last week, potential Jay White debut, but that's a really bad take now in hindsight.
Yeah.
But anyway, I still think it was a great decision to have Austin Theory win the way he did. He won in a chicken shit way. So now he can claim he beat John Cena without actually having beat John Cena. And he'll be a dog shit heel for the rest of the year, which is awesome. That's what Austin Theory's going to do.
And I think I noticed some people made a connection. There's a lot of comparisons to Cena first winning the U.S. title at Mania with this match.
Yeah.
And if you remember the way Cena won, he threw his chain, picked up the brass knuck, hit Big Show with it, and pinned him. So Austin Theory, low-blowing Cena, essentially did his own version of that. So it does still kind of come full circle. This was the first match that had some complaints on social media. Why have Cena do this? Why build it up? It could have been his 6th U.S. title, blah, 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 which irritated the piss out of me because I'm sure it was some of those same people who on social media previously were complaining that WrestleMania was full of quote-unquote part-timers and, why are they there? But now that he lost, it's a bad thing. This was the match that I was the least into, and only because I thought it looked like Cena was phoning it in. Like, I know it was the first match of the night.
I can agree with
that. But I put on Twitter that he and Brock Lesnar are almost at the same point now, where their music can hit, they can come out, do their taunt, do 3 to 5 moves that we're familiar with, have to fight whoever, or have to get beat down by whoever they're facing, and then they either win or they lose. Then their music hits and they leave and everybody's happy. They're both like icons at this point. They're your Bruno Sammartino did it for a bit. Andre did it at the end of his career. Hogan did it in the early 2000s. Doesn't really matter if they win or lose. You're just kind of happy to see him there. I will say, I thought a lot of people said Bianca's entrance was the best entrance of the weekend. My favorite was Cena, because you could see Cena talking to each of the Make-A-Wish kids, whether it was a high five, a hug. He addressed each one. There wasn't one that he left out. And I'm sure Bianca talked to all of them at one point, either on the stage or backstage. But for John, you could see it there on the camera, see how much they mean to him.
With Bianca's entrance, I know that's front on night 2. I don't know if you saw the contortionist, the girl.
Yeah.
Her mom passed away. For those of you that don't know, her mom passed away on Sunday morning.
Yep.
And she still came out and did all that, and it was Triple H made it a big deal at the press conference. I know sometimes press conferences kind of go unnoticed unless you're CM Punk, but
right.
Yeah.
It was your. I guess the best thing to say is it was your typical Cena match. He got beat by Theory. There's a rumor that could be one of Cena's last times. He even kind of hinted at this when Cody asked him for a match, or he said for the one Raw that he came out on, he got teary-eyed because he thought to himself, this could be the last time I'm at this arena. That was the first time he ever thought that. So I mean, it would be fun for him to go full circle, kind of give some of that last rub for the U.S. title. My only thing is, which I didn't watch Raw directly, I kind of looked at the results. It didn't seem that Theory was necessarily running with this yet.
Yeah, for the Raw WrestleMania, he was used to further Ray and Dominic's feud.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming something will come up between now and Backlash for him.
I hope so.
Maybe Orton goes on a. He seems to be doing like I'm a Fight Legends thing. That's what he came out to do with Ray.
Yep.
So he ended up beating Ray. So maybe I could see something like Orton if Orton's coming back.
Maybe even Edge.
Yeah, Edge is there. But yeah, like I said, this match was alright. It wasn't. I'd probably give it like the second weakest match on the night. Just behind the 6-woman tag for me. I don't think it's John Cena's last match though, which especially or even last WrestleMania match. A lot of people on social media were already crying, like not like complaining, crying, like actually upset that this could be like his last. Like it's not his last Mania match. He's not gonna go out losing to Austin Theory. I just think that he's now kind of like in a position like Rock is currently, where he has no guarantee that he'll be free to do many of these, and it might be a long time before we see him again. I kind of think he's kind of been forcing his schedule to be open around this time, or when WWE needs him, and I think that's kind of more than what Rock is doing. I think Rock just takes his time off and actually uses it, while Cena is using his time off to come here. Yeah, but I think John Cena will be back. I think he'll have a proper send-off eventually. Yeah, but good win for Austin Theory. Makes him look good. But the next match is the Men's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag. Street Profits, they defeated Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders. This match actually surprised me. It was actually... I think I said before I was not really interested in either Showcase match. I was right about the other one. This one... they came out with something to prove. And I think they proved the Street Profits look great in this match. So did Ricochet. I think the moment of the match was Angelo Dawkins just derailing Braun Strowman on the outside of the ring. To a humongous pop. That was awesome. I think the Street Profits came out of this match looking like $1 million.
I still am not a fan of them. I don't think, and it could just be me not liking Angelo Dawkins, because I think it's got to be pretty hard for Montez to move forward with him sitting on his coattails. Angelo has his moments, but clearly there's a Shawn Michaels and a Marty Jannetty with this team. I think moment of the match, though, was Chad Gable's German suplex that he gave to Braun Strowman.
Oh, yeah.
I think Gable is going to be the one out of this group that goes on to potentially have some sort of main event run. I don't know if he'll end up getting a heavyweight title. I mean, I thought maybe that if they had Cody win the heavyweight title, they could have Gunther beat him for it. And then who better to try and fight Gunther than the All-American Chad Gable, especially since it's kind of a David Goliath thing as well. I did have to laugh that Braun Strowman came off the top rope. I feel like it's a little karma pairing him with a cruiserweight, and now he's doing a top rope move. Just for all the comments he made on Twitter in the past. I'm hoping that the Viking Raiders end up continuing to be a heel team, kind of a badass team.
Yeah, they look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Holy
I
shit.
don't know why they're always used in this kind of role. They're never the tag team. Hoping that'll change in the future. Yeah, this was supposed to be one of the throwaway matches. This is one of them that a lot of people thought, oh, so and so doesn't have a match, let's get him one.
That's what I thought last week.
But it definitely proved to be a lot more than that.
Yeah, like I said, I think they came out with a lot to prove, and they did. One of the more surprising matches of the night. This one, I wasn't surprised. It was great. We had Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. On Facebook, we ran another Facebook poll for this match. Seth Rollins getting 80% of the votes on who they thought would win, and this time the people did get it right. Seth Rollins ended up walking away with the victory. One of my favorite spots tonight with the giant Prime bottle with a YouTuber KSI in it.
Yeah.
I just know like 80% of the people watching WrestleMania yesterday had no idea who that guy was, and probably thought it was R-Truth at first. But yeah, it was like I said before. It's come out that Logan, all these matches are laid out for him, and he trains. I think with Shawn Michaels, I think it was either down at the Performance Center or in Puerto Rico with whoever. So this match was obviously step by step planned out for him, which is fine if they keep producing matches like this, and he only wrestles 6 to 8 times a year. I'm fine with it. I kind of had kind of knew Seth would win, but I think last week I tried to make the case for Logan Paul winning. But I think it was the right choice. Seth won. He's going to be probably one of the top baby faces to challenge Roman here this summer. Now that Roman's still champion. But
yeah, I mean, Seth just keeps proving himself. I mean, if you remember, he had Dominic's first match. Now he's having. I mean, it's still early on in the career of Logan Paul, and Seth's proven to be a guy who can really work with anyone and make it look great. I know that there's some non-Seth Rollins fans out there, but I just don't understand it at this point. I mean, people love Dolph Ziggler because he does anything that's asked of him. Seth does anything that's asked of him and more. He takes almost any gimmick and he makes it outstanding. When he was the Messiah, now the Drip God, when he snapped during the Rey Mysterio feud, when he was Triple H's Plan B. No matter what he was given, like I said, he just takes that ball and he runs with it.
Yes, I think Seth is one of the guys that would benefit from the world titles being split up.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, with both of them on Roman, it's just going to prolong. Because I think Seth should become world champion sometime this year. Still possible. But it's going to be hard with both of them still strapped to Roman's shoulders. But I think Seth is due for... I don't want to call it a breakout year because he's already broken out and he's a mega star. I think it's going to be another career year for him in terms of work rate.
Certainly.
The next match, two Hall of Famers, Trish Stratus and Lita. Lita being one half of the women's tag team champions along with their partner Becky Lynch, the Man. Kind of in the dream match here, Trish Stratus and Lita teaming up here at Mania to take on and beating the team Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. I don't have too much to say. I thought this match was okay. I don't know what to say because I don't want to sound mean because I love Trish and Lita. What are your thoughts on it?
I thought they went out and they did what they needed to do. It was cool that Trish wore a revamped version of her old attire from WrestleMania 21. Obviously, they weren't moving as fast as the opposing team, but I think it's one of those situations where it was Dakota Kai and Io Shirai on the other side, and it's hard for some of the modern day women to keep up with those two.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially with Trish being out of the ring for so long, I still think this match was a dig at Sasha, since Sasha always wanted to work with them. So let's have Becky and Bayley work with them instead. Supposedly this feud's going to lead to Becky and Trish having a match at SummerSlam.
I can see. I think I'm thinking that yours might be turning as early as next week. I think we have Lita and Becky are defending titles against Liv Morgan and what's her name, Raquel.
Yep, Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah,
which I know on.
I don't see Lita sticking around and defending the belt every couple of weeks here. So I think time is of the essence to get the belt off of them, and to get the belt off of them, I think is the catalyst for this rumored Trish heel turn.
The only thing that I think is Trish needs to align herself with people, because we touched on it on the WrestleMania preview, where if you have Trish turn on Becky too soon and it's supposed to go to SummerSlam, it's a lot of time to fill. So I think if we got Trish a team or we paired her with even someone else, so that way, one of the matches could be Becky and Lita versus Trish and that person. One of the matches could be Becky versus that person, and then finally we get to Becky and Trish. I don't think that would happen if it was next week, because Liv and Raquel are, two of the white hot baby faces right now for the women's division.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what they do. I'm also this was the second time where I saw on social media people complaining, and I don't really understand it. They're saying that Damage Control was only brought in as a PR stunt for Triple H, and that by having them lose here, this is burying Damage Control, and their whole run has been them getting buried.
That's stupid. That's a stupid take by stupid people.
Former tag team champions. Bayley and Becky had some highly elevated matchups. Becky and Lita winning the tag titles was the larger moment from that Monday Night Raw. And even if they lost, they worked with Trish and Lita. Now, isn't everyone's big thing when you work with a legend of that caliber that even if you lose, you're a winner?
Yeah. It's one of the marquee matches on the card. You're working with two Hall of Famers. And just because you're losing doesn't mean you're getting fucking buried. I think they've been looking great the whole time since they debuted. Bayley's on another level again. She was doing great when she left with that injury, but she came back still in that gear. And if I had to guess, the next year's women's main event, probably the night event of night one of Mania 40, is probably going to be Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair.
Yep.
I would have to assume. And I think Bianca will probably be the challenger for the SmackDown Women's title. And if I had to put money on it right now, I would assume Bayley will probably be the one to take the Raw Women's Championship off of Bianca Belair with shenanigans with Damage Control. So I'll throw that out there. So I know the same thing was said at, SummerSlam a year ago, 2 years ago, when Bianca was quote unquote buried.
Yeah.
And everyone freaked the fuck out. Typically in spots like this, when the team is obviously doing great things, but they lose on a big stage, they typically bounce back. Ebb and flow, yin and yang. I think Bayley probably at SummerSlam, I would assume. That seems like a good time for it. We'll probably beat Bianca, or sometime between there, maybe a Survivor Series. Who knows?
Yeah, they also didn't like that Bayley didn't come out with Damage Control on Raw, and that they lost to Liv and Raquel so fast. So, clearly 2 losses and then not having the manager, that means they're getting buried and Bayley's leaving. I saw she did an Instagram, or a couple Instagram posts calling, from WrestleMania, I think 36 and onward, a romance novel, and explaining, the ups and downs and her love of the industry, and that's everyone's like, oh, she's going to Japan, she's going to be with Mercedes and Pam. And I just don't know where people get these ideas at.
They're just fantasy booking in their head. But we can move on from that. one of my favorite matches of night one. Just because of the absurdity of it. Rey Mysterio beating Dominic Mysterio. This match was sponsored by Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So when Rey Mysterio made his entrance, there's that giant. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yep.
The giant dancing. What do you call that? Like a thing of cereal. What
Yes, a cereal square.
Yeah. So you have this blood feud, right? This family drama where the father has to come in here and beat his son, and everyone's gonna cheer for it. It's sponsored by a breakfast cereal. And the son it makes his grand entrance, which is awesome, by the way, in the back of a prison van. And holy shit, Dominic is definitely Ray's kid.
Yeah.
For sure. With that mask on, looking at 90s Rey Mysterio right there in the face. Ray coming out with Eddie's theme at first. Goosebumps. I'm jealous of everybody at the arena that got to experience that live and in person. That theme, when's the last time that theme was played? Probably Hall of Fame, WrestleMania 22.
The last time it was played, like, at Mania or any crowd?
Like, ever. Like, yeah, in the crowd.
Vicky Guerrero's last night on Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
After she threw Stephanie in the slop. They played it for her because she got to leave as a babyface.
Okay. So, yeah. Like, once, then, that was what, like 2014? 15?
14 or 15.
That sounded like about that time when Stephanie was just on TV every week.
Yep.
And then before that was 2006.
Yeah.
So, a long time. I'm jealous everybody in the crowd that got to experience that, even if it was only for a couple seconds. Ray coming out on the lowrider with Snoop. It was awesome. And the match itself was awesome, too. I think this is something Ray will probably one of the highlights of his career, working a match at Mania with the Sun. And it was actually a great match.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best of Dominic's career.
Yep. This continues the trend I've talked about on here, though, where Dominic has to have that perfect dancing partner. And, I mean, it does make it easier for any professional wrestler, but I think that's going to be what takes him from good to great, is when he can get in there with, like, a Titus O'Neil or like a Von Wagner, someone at that level, and put on a great match. There's been time where Dominic's had some stinkers and he's looked like shit. But you get him in there with Ray, you get him in there with Seth Rollins, you get him in there with Edge, puts on a show. And yes, he's younger, but it's just one of those things where, with how good his first match was, you kind of expected him to continue at that rate. It was very fun I'm sure, for Dominic's mom, Ray's wife, to get involved, as well as the sister. Bad Bunny was there.
Bad Bunny was there. He's joining the LWO, I think.
Yeah, they brought back the LWO the night before, or Ray did. Pretty big moment. This match was essentially used to set up Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio facing Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny at Puerto Rican Backlash. And it's kind of cool because they all tie together, because you figure Bad Bunny's first partner was Priest. So this could be a big match for Latin American wrestling. I'm glad Ray got the win. I was kind of fearful they weren't going to give him the win, since I can just hear it now. Well, you're already going to the Hall of Fame. You don't need to go in the Hall of Fame and win.
Ric Flair didn't win and go into the Hall of Fame the same weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think Triple H was still in charge in night one, so.
Yeah.
So that's why if Vince was in charge, he would have lost.
Yeah.
I think two brain cells go together. I think thoughts. Yeah. I think big things for Dominic this year as well.
I think maybe
this new character with Judgment Day that he's that's been happening for the past couple months now. So the Clash at the Castle.
I think the big thing with Dominic is you always hear him compared to Eddie because his looks and the jokes that Eddie's his dad, ha ha ha. I think Dominic right now is representing a WCW style of Chris Jericho, where he's got some of the in-ring work, but he is like the perfect chicken shit right now. You mentioned how Austin Theory had big things coming as the chicken shit heel. I think WWE wishes that Austin Theory had Dominic Mysterio's charisma, and I think they wish that Dominic Mysterio had Austin Theory's wrestling ability. Because if you took Dom's charisma and Theory's ability in the ring and put them into one, that is like the super young heel right now. Unfortunately, they're split between two bodies, so we'll have to see which gets pushed faster. Well, having an it factor or being able to work.
Well, Dominic, the good thing that Dominic will have is you can learn, right? Dominic,
yeah,
you can be taught how to perform, and Dominic's being taught by some of the best, and he has gotten exponentially better since when he had his first match. Was that Payback 2020, SummerSlam 2020, whenever
SummerSlam
around there. He's gotten exponentially better since then. But can you teach charisma? I don't want to say Austin Theory has no charisma. I think, I just think he's good at reading his lines.
Yep.
Kind of deal. I just like the promo he cut on Ray. I know you said you didn't watch. I watched a little bit before I went to work that night. It literally just sounded like you could put the teleprompter right in front of him. That's kind of what he was going off of. Oh, these people here will chant John Cena's name, and oh no, now they're chanting John Cena's name. Oh, don't do that. Yeah, big things for Dom. Maybe I'd honestly, speaking of Austin Theory, I'd love to see Dom with the U.S. title.
Yeah,
and I kind of get that idea. That's where they were going. I thought Austin Theory was about to drop the title to Ray. It wasn't a title match. I thought it very well could have been, and then Dom would beat Ray for the U.S. title somewhere down the line. I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
But well, whatever, we'll see. Now the next match, my match of the night, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley winning the SmackDown Women's Championship, and I got a quick story about this match.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know that are listening, I work midnights. I work midnights at a retail store in this area, let's just say. And part of my job is being overnight, is the store closes at midnight. So from 10 to 12, I have to deal with customers. But from 10 to 11, I don't really have to. I'm kind of just doing my own thing. But everybody goes home from the day at 11, and I'm the only one there from 11 to 12. And of fucking course, all week from 11 to 12, we were dead as fuck. Dead as fuck. And the Wi-Fi worked all week. No problems with the internet. Saturday night, busy as fuck. Old people that don't know how to use self-checkout. And then the Wi-Fi kept going in and out. Just a whole whammy, pissing me right the fuck off. I somehow am able to see like the last 7 minutes of this match. I have a little setup with like a cart up against like a cooler, so the cameras can't really see I'm watching, but I don't really give a fuck if they were. And then so I'm watching the end of the match. The stream freezes. I'm like, well, cool. And then so I try to get it recalibrating, and it comes back on to Rhea Ripley holding the championship with fireworks going off in the background. I'm like, oh, cool. Glad I was trying my best to see this match all for nothing. So I had to go back and watch the ending. I think Rhea won with her finishing move off the top rope or something. Yeah, for the parts that I seen of it, and then when I went back and rewatched it. I think it was the match of night one, for sure.
I'd say it was a great match. Of course, this one's going to be remembered more than we'll talk about Bianca and Asuka later. but it's because people thought Rhea needed to win this one, which I wanted her to win too. But by having the correct person win, it obviously is going to get a more positive response. As you said, I think Rhea and Bianca are going to potentially even main event next year. I have a feeling, like you said, Bianca will challenge. I think they'll do it hokey. I think she'll have lost the Raw title, I don't know, maybe like a month before. Then she'll win the Rumble. Then she'll come out and she'll talk about WrestleMania. And then the Raw champion will come out and be like, I guess I'll see you there. And she'll go, I never said I was challenging you. And then that's Michael Culkin. That doesn't mean. And then she'll look in the camera and, Rhea, I'll see you on SmackDown. And then everyone will freak out, and that'll be the first person to jump brands after the draft.
The draft is supposed to be coming up, right?
Supposedly.
I keep seeing all these wrestling journalists, people who fancy yourself a journalist. They keep saying, all the events happening for Payback or Backlash. Sorry.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in April.
I literally said I saw someone said it was happening next week.
I don't know why or how. They haven't even announced it.
Yeah, I think if it does happen in April, it would have to be the 17th with them announcing it on Monday.
I honestly thought Triple H was going to come out on Raw, and now that we have new owners, it's time to shake things up a bit. But that didn't happen. Rhea and Charlotte, it was a great match. Charlotte always performs. Rhea always. People hate Charlotte because, shoved down her throat, always a champion. Guess what? She wouldn't be shoved down your throat or always a champion if she wasn't good. And you know what she is? She's damn good.
She's a Flair. Of course she's good.
Yeah, I mean, Rick was good. I'm sure Reed could have been good, and Charlotte's good. So
I think the issue with that fans have with Charlotte Flair was back when she was first on the main roster. I just think she was way too overexposed. But the problem was, besides her and Becky and Sasha, there wasn't really many women on the roster to go to. And if Becky and Sasha are in other feuds that don't necessarily involve like the Raw Women's Championship or the SmackDown's Women's Championship, it's gonna be Charlotte. And so how many? Charlotte's already like past 10, right? She's like at 14 or something.
Yep.
So she's already won the world title and dropped it multiple times, and I think that's the issue. But I understand why. Charlotte is probably, I'd argue, probably the best, but if for sake of argument we can say one of, definitely top 3.
Oh yeah.
In the company right now, and probably the world as well. Definitely top 5 in the world, but yeah, great match. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the Miz segments? I know we probably talk about the one on night 2 a little bit more than this.
That was the Pat McAfee one?
Pat McAfee was night 1, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Michael Cole was excited. It was a surprise.
Well, I'll say this, because this is only one of my very few complaints about the entire weekend. Was how, outside of, obviously you can't do the same matches both nights, obviously, but everything outside of that, like the promos, even like the commercials, and like these in-ring segments with like the Miz, they literally just seem like copy and paste from night 1 and night 2.
Yeah.
Night 1 opened with Snoop Dogg and the Miz saying the most cringiest shit ever. Like, let's get what do you say? Let's get this poppin', smoking.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Smoking.
Whatever. And then he said the exact same thing, the exact same way. Open up night 2, and then the Snoop Dogg and Miz segment in the middle of the show where, and this night Pat McAfee came out, and then on night 2 Shane came out. It was essentially like the same exact segment, which I guess they're trying, it's like a joke, it's kind of doing about the same nights.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing you did for like unannounced shenanigan nostalgia pop type deals.
Well, yeah, especially we were promised surprises by Nick Khan, I thought, is what I kept reading. So I was expecting something. I mean, Bobby Lashley came out on night 2 and showed off his Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy. LA Knight had it.
After in the LA Knight, like you said with LA Knight too, like Bobby Lashley was posting on Twitter like the entire week leading up to it, like, oh, who wants to fight me at Mania? Like, in it's not just him posting on his own. Like, those are corporate accounts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, stuff like that. Like, he's being told to tweet that. And I think you're about to say it with LA Knight. He cut promos every week for, like, the past month. Saying, like, WrestleMania, like, he doesn't want a WrestleMania moment. WrestleMania is an LA Knight moment. Then he wasn't even on the fucking show. He wasn't even on Raw after. Man, I'm assuming he'll probably be on SmackDown. I think he's a SmackDown wrestler. You know, that doesn't really seem to actually matter.
Nope, not at the moment. I've noticed there's certain people that will keep on one show, and I'm wondering if that means, and it's always people like LA Knight, like Seth Rollins. I wonder if that means they're gearing up for them to be one of the faces of it. I don't know. But I do think that Knight or Lashley should have done something. I mean, hell, we had all these guest commentators. You could have had LA Knight be one.
Oh, yeah, and they had like, the same guest commentators every night.
I mean, I was okay with Titus.
Titus should not be commentating.
Titus did very well. Titus was probably one of the high moments of a third commentator in a long time. And I think it's because he didn't have Vince in his ear. And I also think it's because he was just out there having fun. Like, there's multiple times where he wanted to say shit, so he had to say sugar, honey, iced tea. Or there's times you could tell he wanted to say fuck, and he couldn't.
You should have just dropped an F-bomb. I would love that.
I also saw that Darren Young was backstage for Raw. I don't know if maybe they were getting people reacclimated with Titus, so that way they could bring back the primetime players. I do know that
millions of dollars.
I do know that he is one of the big ambassadors for the company, and he is obviously a Warrior Award winner. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I'm also wondering if maybe this was them being like, "Here, have a bigger role than just holding the microphone at the one and then coming out with Hulk Hogan at the other. Here, have some speaking lines."
Yeah, he hasn't really done much on like actual TV, has he? Like this year? I don't remember. Like, if you told me he showed up on like a TV taping, I would not believe you.
No, I have not seen him. That's why I said I don't know if they're trying to reacclimate him or if this was a, hey, thank you for being a WWE, but we're not going to give you a match.
Hey. Our main event, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn finally beating the Usos and winning the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, sending the crowd home happy. Sami Zayn's theme song just seems like a perfect song to end Mania on.
Yeah.
Had a happy, upbeat song, and we finally get to see it not just on like a 2K game.
Michael Cole mentioned El Generico.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
You gotta remember, I was at work, so
the fans were chanting Olay, and then Michael Cole mentioned that El Generico would have loved those Olay chants. So it was kind of nice. Kevin Owens now is main evented 2 of the nights of WrestleMania. Kevin Owens now, he just keeps adding to his WrestleMania resume, his resume in general. He's another one of those I always snicker and laugh at when I see memories come up on Twitter about how, was it last year? They were saying that he was going to quit and go to AEW, and he hated his job. Yeah, it was right before Mania, and he hated his job.
Yeah. Then he signed like a big extension right around then, too.
Yep.
Him and AJ, I think. That was a big thing. Like, him and AJ's contracts were up. I don't want to say it was at the same time, but they were within like the same time frame. It was like around the time where everybody was leaving for AEW.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, is AJ and Kevin Owens going to go? And then they're the 2 that stayed. I think AJ would have had a big moments here if he wasn't injured. But yeah, Kevin Owens main eventing 2 WrestleManias in a row in a T-shirt, by the way.
Yeah, take that, Phil.
I know some people in the business did not appreciate that.
Yeah, just remember, like I said on Twitter, Logan Paul is only the second biggest asshole to use the GTS.
Yeah. I said predictions. I think this is a match that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn needed to win.
Yep.
And I think I did make the argument to continue the Bloodline story after Mania that they would have to lose here, and that's what it did. It was, it was a great match. Like in ring wise, I'd put Rhea and Charlotte just above this one, but that's just, I don't know. That's just like pulling hairs at that point.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was a great moment to end on, and it kind of set up night 2 for disappointment, though. Because everyone left night 1 like, oh, this is it. The Bloodline is going down.
Yeah.
It's, how is the Tribal Chief going to react to his cousins losing their championships that they held forever, it seemed like. Yeah, we'll see. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn finally. This is Kevin Owens' first tag team championship. Is that correct? I know it's Sammy's. So that this makes Kevin Owens a Grand Slam. I'm pretty sure.
I'm checking now. I know it does make him a Grand Slam champion. Just don't remember if he ever held a tag title and it kind of just slipped through the cracks. No, this is his first tag team championship for WWE.
Yep. And so he's an Intercontinental Champion, a Universal Champion, United States Champion, and now a Tag Team Champion. So he is finally a Grand Slam champion. Who does he join? He joins Seth Rollins, The Miz. I'm missing somebody.
Almost Sheamus.
Almost Sheamus.
Edge.
That's what I love about power of the internet. We can look up. Alright. He will join Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Kane, Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Rob Van Dam, Booker T, Jeff Hardy, JBL, Christian, and Big Show. Along with... Oh, that's the old format. I lied. There's a new format, I guess. So he joins Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Edge, Big Show, Miz, Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, Roman, Randy, Seth, Jeff, Cody, Ray, AJ, and Kevin Owens. All future Hall of Famers right there.
Oh, yeah.
And that includes Kevin Owens. I think Kevin Owens is a Hall of Famer.
Oh, 100%.
Hot take. Right there. I didn't post a poll for this one on our Facebook. I was too busy making that dough. But I think we had generally positive reactions from our followers on Facebook for this match.
I do know that someone reshared our picture of Owens and Zayn as the I think it's the PWG Tag Champions, and then winning the WWE titles, and they shared it, and they said, "I think I'm going to be sick." I don't really know what that's about. I mean, Kevin Owens is wearing a T-shirt. I don't know what there's to be sick about.
I think he just had food poisoning. He had some bad food during Mania, and he hit the share button. And he's just like, "Well, let everybody know, like, hey, I'm feeling kind of sick right now. I don't got no one talks to me during night 2 of Mania."